Hi there, I'm Alex Clough with the NewOrleansSaints.com, and here with me is Mitchell Loewen. Now, you were having breakfast with your family on Sunday when, out of nowhere, the unthinkable happened. Can you take us through, step by step, what exactly happened that day?
Yeah, so we were just out at brunch after church, and I'm sitting there feeding my son, and a loud boom. It sounded like a bomb had went off. And so at that moment, people were screaming in the restaurant. I turned around, and the restaurant we were sitting in had big windows so we could see into the street. And there was dust everywhere. It looked like the building had been collapsed. And there was a vehicle upside down. So at that moment, I told my wife, I'm going to go see if I can help watch our son. And so I jogged around the corner. I evaluated the situation, made sure it wasn't like the worst part was over. And so that's what it seemed like. I took one more glance up to see if any more concrete was going to fall. And I got to work. And really, initially, when I got on my hands and knees to look in that vehicle, I thought I was going to find a dead body. And so it was pretty amazing that the guy was alive, first and foremost, and that he was screaming. I was like, "What's wrong? Are you the only one in the vehicle?" He said, "Yeah, my leg is crushed by the vehicle." And so I knew at that moment I couldn't pull him out alone. And so I called to the streets and I said, "Get all the men over here, we got to flip this thing." And so we got all the men, we got on one side, and I counted to 3, and we flipped it over on its side, and then we flipped it one more time onto its wheels. And at that point, we were pulling glass off him. We pulled the windshield off him, all the debris, and all the doors were jammed shut, so we couldn't really get to him that easy. And one guy ended up climbing over through the windshield into the car, and so that he could unlatch one of the doors, and I pried the door open. And then I was asking the guy, because at that time, he was talking with me when he was when he was trapped under the car. But then once we'd flipped it, he wasn't talking to me anymore, and I was worried. And so I was asking the guy who crawled in, I was like, "How's he doing? How's he doing right now? Is he good?" And the guy was like, "Yeah, he's doing good." So we pried the door open, and I was just hugging him. It was crazy. I mean, a life experience like that, there's not many of those that happen in our lives. And so for something like that, it was just an act of God that we even went there. I mean, me and my wife have never been to that restaurant before. And so, I mean, we don't even live down that area. We live in Kenner, and that was all the way downtown. It was just an act of God that we were even in the area and that I could help out and lead those other men. And it's pretty amazing what the power of 10 men can do, flipping vehicles all to save one man's life.
I can't even imagine now. What made you want to be the first person to be out there to help that person?
Well, I didn't really I kind of just knew, like, all right, this is an emergency situation. Like, something has to happen fast. Like, a vehicle's upside down, so you see it all the time in the movies. Upside down vehicles, they blow up or whatever. And so I figured, we got to flip this thing over as fast as possible. I could smell the gas was leaking out, but, I mean, I wasn't really worried about that. And so I just tried to get all the men together, and we worked together. I mean, people were talking, they're asking me, "Weren't you afraid about if you moved him and he got paralyzed?" And I mean, that's why we have the Good Samaritan laws, for people to help out and to not be afraid in situations like that and just go and to take action.
Of course, and has your phone been completely blowing up since that moment?
Yeah, most definitely. My friends and family have been hitting me up. It's been something surreal, but I mean, all the glory goes to God. He was working through me, and just in that moment, I had extreme confidence, and there was no hesitation about what needed to be done. It was a feeling that, I mean, is fleeting because it only happens a few times, and it was absolutely amazing, incredible.
Well, you truly are a hero, but can you tell us, have you gotten his name? Have you been able to see him since that moment? Or if you haven't, what would be your next words to him?
Actually, that's what I was asking for all day yesterday, and no later than like 20 minutes ago, the reporter who initially started the story got me his name, and I'm about to call him after this. And well, I think he got his mom's phone number, and so I'm gonna get in contact with him and see how he's doing. But I mean, it was an act of God, because this happened 3 years ago, same situation, and the guy died. That guy shouldn't have been alive when he fell 4 stories onto his head in a vehicle. It was like a stick of dynamite went off. You think of a 6,000-pound vehicle landing on the street, that's a huge impact. And to survive that initially, that's an act of God. So there's definitely a purpose for this man's life, and I was just glad that I was there to help and help lead others to help as well.
Of course, and we're glad that you were there to help save him. You're truly a hero in this town.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Alex Clough reporting for the NewOrleansSaints.com.